The Joplin School Board has an item on their agenda to approve the purchase of Chromebooks for College Heights Christian School. I'm Chris Warner with why the purchase has to go through the Joplin district.
A small package packing a big punch. We'll tell you about the Galena, Kansas girl trying for her third regional boxing championship.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
The Joplin School District approves buying 80 Chromebooks using CARES funding. However, the purchase isn't exactly for the district. This is KOIM News at 10. KOIM's Chris Warner explains what school it's for and why the purchase must go through the Joplin School District.
College Heights Christian School is a private religious school in Joplin. It falls within the Joplin School District's attendance boundary, and it's the recipient of the 80 Chromebooks approved by the Joplin School Board. Joplin School's Executive Director of Student Services, Sandra Cantwell, says it's because the private schools, or non-public schools, don't receive the funding directly from the federal government.
There are federal grants that we get every year, and off the top of that, the non-publics get their proportionate share through services or supplies or goods.
Because the funding is handled by the public school, in this case Joplin schools, anything the non-public schools need has to go through Joplin.
So all orders go through the public school. They don't get any money. There's just a set aside for them, and then they send all of their orders to us and we process them just like we would process an order for the district. College Heights Superintendent Dan Decker says it's not unlike state money they get.
It's the same thing with title money, which is money to help students in the educational process. Joplin gets a certain amount, and then they have to divide that up, a certain amount up amongst the private schools within their attendance area.
Cantwell says only items over a certain amount have to go through the Joplin School Board for approval. Most requests for lower dollar items like hand sanitizer or cleaning supplies don't require board approval. Decker says there are still many people who are unaware of the required partnership.
I think so, because I think most people in the public realm, they just automatically assume that it's completely separate, and with many things it is, but with federal monies it's not.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Officials say there are stipulations for the funding, especially if it goes to a religious school. In some cases, whatever is being provided through Joplin must be in a room that has no religious icons or decor of any kind. Nick Kelly joins us now. It's wet out there, still cold, although not quite as cold as it was last night.
Now, at least we're done with any wintry weather threats with this storm system, Dow, with temperatures thankfully back above freezing, especially this afternoon, where Joplin, we at least made it to 37 degrees this afternoon, but more rain will certainly take, and we got almost 3/4 of an inch of that from Joplin Regional alone today. But we're just going from one issue, the wintry weather, to another, which is potential flooding over the next few days. Flood watches, a patchwork of them across parts of the area, taking us through at least Thursday evening. Not because of the light showers on top of us right now. We're seeing that die down to just some drizzle as we go through the overnight, but rain that we've already seen over the past few days, and more rain to come that'll form out of the southwest and head our way as we head into tomorrow afternoon. In the meantime, cold, sure, but most spots either just above freezing or sitting in the mid-30s. I think we'll actually warm a little bit, pushing 37 by morning. We're dry for most of the morning, but more rain in for the afternoon. Despite that, highs back in the 40s. We'll see how much more rain we'll see over the next few days coming up in a bit, Dow.
All right, we'll see you soon. Joplin High School's game against Rockhurst, scheduled for Friday, has been canceled. It's due to what Joplin school officials are calling reasons related to COVID-19. Rockhurst forfeits, and Joplin will play the winner of the Raymore Peculiar Lee's Summit game. Missouri is trying to increase the number of substitute teachers by making it easier for them to get certified. In August, the state lowered the requirements so that residents with a high school diploma can get certified after going through a 20-hour course. States also now using CARES Act funds to reimburse the cost of the course certification and background check.
My hope is that it will have a positive effect. The reality is I think it's just going to be marginal. I don't know that we're going to have a considerable amount of people changing their minds from, hey, this is what I am doing, and now I'm going to do something different.
The Joplin School District has been doing something similar and has seen a positive effect. That program ends on November 4th. Voting ends a week from today, and this year social media has played a major role in campaigning in the effort to influence people to vote. Social media platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram have allowed those running for office to more conveniently reach a larger audience. For instance, President Trump tweets to his 87 million followers more than 20 times a day on average. Locally, social media has helped organizations like the Southwest Missouri Republicans and Democrats with campaigning. It's allowed them to spend less on advertising and campaign safely during COVID-19. When it comes to the younger generation, students are being exposed to more political campaigns than ever before.
I was surprised by the amount of campaign ads on Instagram, to where, while it never changed my mind, it made me think about some topics in new ways.
You can find more on this story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Now, tonight's KOAM News Now Instapoll question: how much do you trust social media posts about political issues? You can cast your vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or the KOAM News app. There's a dial. You can measure a range. Your responses update live, and we'll check in on them throughout the show. Authorities in Jasper County declare a mistrial in the case of a Joplin man charged with multiple child sex crimes because the man is sick. The trial of Daniel Franklin was supposed to start yesterday, but Franklin became sick and was taken to the hospital. His charges include multiple counts of statutory sodomy, statutory rape, and unlawful use of a weapon. His trial has been rescheduled for later this year. Still ahead with the election a week away, the presidential candidates make pitches in battleground states, and Facebook set a goal this election season to court new voters across the country, and they say they succeeded. Let's check in on tonight's KOAM News Now Instapoll question: how much do you trust social media posts about political issues? The dial heavily leaning toward not at all. You can cast your vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or the KOAM News app. Your responses update live, and we're going to check in on them throughout this program. A week from tonight, the presidential campaigns will be over as we wait to see who will be the next president of the United States. Today, from Nevada to North Carolina, the candidates and their surrogates hit battleground states all across the country to make their last pitch to voters. Skylar Henry reports.
Joe Biden is hoping to turn Georgia blue for the first time since 1992.
We can do it here in Georgia. We win Georgia, we win everything.
The former vice president stumped in Warm Springs and Atlanta, while his running mate Senator Kamala Harris rallied in Nevada.
Honk if you're fired up.
And former President Barack Obama pumped up a drive-in crowd in Orlando.
I'm asking you to believe in Joe's ability to lead this country out of these dark times.
President Trump hosted more crowded in-person rallies in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Nebraska. All states he won in 2016, but he's currently trailing in the polls in Michigan and Wisconsin. And both states are experiencing spikes in coronavirus cases.
I will deliver record prosperity, epic job growth, and a safe vaccine that eradicates the virus and quickly ends the pandemic. And we're making that final turn.
Vice President Mike Pence crisscrossed the Carolinas. In Pennsylvania, First Lady Melania Trump defended her husband's record on how he's handled COVID-19. That's killed more than 226,000 Americans.
While the president was taking decisive action to keep the American people safe, the Democrats were wasting American taxpayer dollars in a sham impeachment.
According to the U.S. Elections Project, more than 69 million voters have already cast early ballots. With 1 week to go until Election Day, officials in several states warned ballots mailed after today may not arrive on time. Today, the president tweeted that we must have a final vote total on November 3rd, citing big problems. Twitter flagged it for possibly being misleading.
But we do know that certain states will continue to count some of their mail-in ballots for a couple of days after.
Acting Department of Homeland Security Chief Chad Wolf told CBS's Catherine Herridge the final tally will come in after Election Day. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The Supreme Court gave President Trump a win in a ruling last night that said Wisconsin ballots must be in by Election Day to be counted. USA Today reports that Facebook signed up a record 4.4 million people to vote. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg touted the achievement in a post yesterday. Zuckerberg wrote, quote, "This year we launched the largest voting information campaign in U.S. history with the goal of helping 4 million people register to vote. Today we hit our goal." And Facebook says it's not over. The numbers could keep growing. Online registration is still open in multiple states, and Facebook is still running notifications. The increasing COVID-19 restrictions across Europe are crippling the international travel industry. There are no coordinated policies on quarantine, on testing and tracing on travel. However, not many people are traveling. More than half of the 330 million jobs in the travel and tourism industry are forecast to be lost by the end of the year. Oklahoma is getting a massive shipment of coronavirus tests. Federal officials say they plan to ship nearly 1.2 million rapid tests to the Sooner State. The tests, developed by Abbott, give results as quickly as 15 minutes. Governor Stitt will decide how to distribute those tests to schools, nursing homes, critical infrastructure, and first responders. A little bit later on KOAM News at 10, does this house look kind of haunted to you? We're going to hear about some spooky stories that have come from this historic Carthage home.
But first, more rain on the way before we dry things out by the weekend. We'll get to the forecast up next. We certainly had wintry weather to start this morning out, with freezing temperatures allowing a mix of rain, freezing rain, and sleet. But thankfully, we started warming things up a bit throughout the day, switching us back over to mainly rain. But Seneca, indigo sky, just outside of Seneca city limits, you saw mainly rain throughout the system so far, and plenty of it throughout the course of the time lapse from the casino grounds. The winter weather advisories, they were long gone since the evening began, but now we're going from one issue to another with flood watches until noon on Thursday for parts of southeast Kansas, and until 7 Thursday night for Lawrence, Berry, McDonald, and Newton counties, because the system that's been sending us these waves of moisture, it's not done with us just yet. Since Monday, since the system began, giving us at least 1.5 inches on average area-wide, with some embedded heavier pockets along and south of I-44 showing almost 3 to 4 inches of rain already, and still more to come. At the very least, we've just got a band of light rain or very light scattered showers across parts of the area. But this is just wave number 2. The tail end of it starting to wind on down. We'll just back things down to some drizzle tonight before more moisture from the southwest starts to head our way. As far as temperatures go right now, it's cloudy everywhere, some mist around parts of Joplin, but we're at 33 at Joplin Regional, 31 in Iola, 35 in Grove. Temperatures, most of us just above the freezing mark, but everyone's going to gravitate eventually back into the mid-30s overnight, and even trying to push 37 despite all the clouds in place as we go throughout the night and into tomorrow morning. And even though the clouds stick with us tomorrow and more rain on the way, I do think we can get back into the 40s finally as we go into Wednesday afternoon. So this is moisture of wave number 2 starting to wind on down, but the next wave is already developing across parts of Oklahoma, Texas, and New Mexico. Eventually at the surface, this high pressure is going to erode. This returning front is going to keep rain chances around for the next few days, as will this, the main driver of the storm system, the upper low spinning across southern New Mexico. Eventually, though, both of these will start to move along and will eventually dry out. It just won't be for tomorrow. We may back things down again to some drizzle overnight with cloudy skies and temperatures staying in the mid-30s overall. But we're going to start mainly quiet, at least not much in the way of rain during the morning. But then here comes that next steady stream of moisture, resulting in periods of rain throughout the afternoon. That's going to be the next time that we're going to have the rain gear handy. 37 in the morning, 46 by noon, highs around 49 with a light northeast breeze at 5 to 10. Thankfully, temperatures hold steady throughout the course of Wednesday night and Thursday, staying in the 40s. But this is the back end of the storm system. We just got to get past the rain chances Thursday morning. Then we're going to finally start to dry things out once we hit Thursday afternoon. As far as rain amounts go, this is another reason why the flood watches are out. Anywhere between 1 to 3 inches of rain additional before we can finally start to dry things out and brighten things up and even warm things up by the time we hit the weekend. Despite the clouds and the rain tomorrow, we'll go back to 49, 43 Thursday, near 60 Friday and Halloween as we stay dry. Turning chilly as we roll back the clocks on Sunday and staying quiet and mild all the way to Election Day, a week from now, Dow.
We needed the rain. It'll be nice to warm back up at least into the 50s or
that sounds
60.
Mighty nice.
Thanks, Nick. We often talk about how our co-workers here are really one big family, but it's not just localized to our newsroom or to this station. Broadcast journalists all across the world are one big family in a sense, and when a family member is hurting or needs help, well, folks step up. And that's the thought behind this. Meteorologists all across the country, including Nick Kelly here, are wearing red today. They chose to do this to show their support for Doug Hetty's son, Christian, who is battling cancer. A number of them posted these photos on Twitter with encouraging messages and a link to donate to help with expenses. On behalf of Doug and his family, to all those meteorologists, men and women everywhere, we say thanks. 4 members of the Axe Throwing League at Main Street Axe Company in Pittsburgh qualified for the World Championships in December. Tonight they competed in their weekly league matches, so we sent photojournalist Daniel Camp there to scope out the competitors.
You know, being in a small market, you know, it makes me very proud of what we're doing here. You know, being in business for 2 years now and to have axe throwers developed to compete on the national level and international level speaks volumes of, you know, the competitors that we have here in Southeast Kansas.
It's kind of cool to be able to go to places like that and just represent Southeast Kansas, our area, and I kind of think it's an awesome deal.
I don't think it's going to hit us until we get there and we're with the best, and then to know that we're with the best, and you know we're able to compete with the best axe throwers.
It hasn't really hit us all the way yet. I guess when we're there and we walk into the place, it's going to be a different story. But I mean, I'm a little nervous thinking about it now.
I just think it's a cool opportunity to go check it out. You know, get to go throw with some of these guys that have been doing it since the league and everything got started. So
at the end of the day, it's just having a good time, competing, and having fun.
Well, they're good. Still ahead, they call her $1 Million Maddie, and she's preparing to once again capture a regional boxing championship. We're going to introduce you to this small package, packing a punch from Galena, next. Checking in on tonight's KOAM News Now Insta poll again. The question, how much do you trust social media posts about political issues? The dial leaning toward not at all. You can cast your vote at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News app. Your responses update live. We'll check in on them again a little bit later. A local boxer has made it to the top 5 in the national rankings and has her sights set on continuing to climb all the way to the top. Sports director Jacob Leonard catches up with $1 Million Maddie Bolin as she prepares for her next fight.
Maddie Bolin is soft-spoken, so she lets her hands do the talking.
I just know I have to go in there and be aggressive, and I can block everybody out when I'm in there.
Everybody's got a different outlook of things when they get in the ring. They know they're in there to you got combat in front of them. You got to go to work.
Bolin, who fights out of Heartland Boxing Gym in Galena, has made her way up to number 4 in the USA Boxing National Rankings, but she's not done climbing.
I just love it. I just want to go as far as I can with it and get at least 200 fights, shoot for the Olympics, win all the national titles, win everything I can with it.
Bolin will be in the ring this weekend at the KC Golden Gloves Regional Tournament, an event she has won the last 2 years.
I'm feeling confident, but I don't take anyone lightly.
Real aggressive fighter. She got good speed, good power. Kind of we're working a little bit on the Tyson style, moving the head a little bit more and coming in.
Bolin hopes this weekend is another step on her way to the top. She credits her trainer and her gym for the opportunity to get there.
I wouldn't be where I am without the gym or Dallas. Dallas is the best coach out there.
She loves the boxing and stuff, and anything you love, you're going to put more into it, put your heart into it, and more drive towards it. That's what she kind of lives for right now.
In Galena, Jacob Leonard, KOAM Sports.
Bolin played collegiate soccer at NEO before beginning her boxing career. After this weekend, she'll prepare for USA Nationals, which will be in Louisiana in December. We wish her well. Some people in the 4 states are mixing a history lesson into a kind of spooky lesson. The Kendrick House in Carthage was built in 1849. Over the years, it had multiple uses, including a community sick house, Civil War field hospital, private home. Some people claim that because of that history, the house is a hotbed for paranormal activity.
We have captured shadow men on camera. We've captured floating balls of light on camera. There are a number of things that people experience. Really interesting.
The house now stands as a living museum with tours available. Final check on the weather is next. Take time now to honor a local veteran, Howard Ogden. The Carthage, Missouri native served in the U.S. Navy, and we are proud to salute Howard Ogden. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Final look now at tonight's KOAM News Now Instapoll question. How much do you trust social media posts about political issues? The gauge, average, not at all. This poll is now closed. Thanks for participating. Nick Kelly, it's going to stay wet for a bit longer.
Yeah, but thankfully for not too much longer. We'll have to put up rain chances tomorrow through Thursday morning. Then we're dry for the weekend and into early next week. The rain chances keeps us in the 40s for Wednesday and Thursday, but we'll be back near 60 by Friday.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.